Well, the shape of the budget is being finalised by the government parties ahead of its unveiling tomorrow. But already a number of big-ticket items have emerged as having been nailed down for inclusion, including bumper child benefit payments, more energy credits, a hike in the pension and other weekly welfare payments and USC and tax changes, all designed to put more money in people's pockets, with a general election moving into view once tomorrow's budget speeches are out of the way. Well, our political correspondent Gavin Riley joins us now. So, Gavin, the Taoiseach, he's given a very strong hint on the size of the increase in weekly welfare payments that we're going to see tomorrow.
Yeah, saying strong hint is a little bit charitable, Colette, because he has effectively given the game away. We are still 24 hours before Jack Chambers and Pascal Donoghue are due to get on their feet in the Dáil chamber. But today, Micheál Martin all but confirming that there will be a flat rate €12 increase on all major weekly welfare payments. That includes the state pension and it includes job seekers allowance. And this was something which we all understood was something of a cabinet row, because Fine Gael wanted to prioritise pensioners and other people of working age for higher increases and not have a similar increase for those on unemployment payments. The basis being that because we're in full employment, Fine Gael didn't think that it wanted to do anything which might be perceived in some way as rewarding unemployment. The other two parties in coalition believed that it was unfair to try and leave lower paid people on unemployment assistance without getting the benefit of the same assistance that everyone else might get in the middle of what remains a cost of living crisis. So we all thought there was still a bit of a cabinet row ongoing. Not so, says the Taoiseach, who not alone confirmed what the increase would be, but even says there wasn't even a row to begin with.
I think there's been a bit of a phony sort of spinning stuff going on about this, and I think it's completely overplayed. The summer economic statement gave the overall expenditure framework. Go back to that and you'll see that clearly a €12 increase in the pension was stitched in to that. Nothing has changed since then. There's been no attempt to change that. Any differential will be marginal in overall costs. So I think there's much ado about nothing there.
Now, on top of that, there will be a universal energy credit paid in the latter part of this year worth €250, perhaps in 2 instalments. That will need laws to go through the Dáil and Shannon. And child benefit will also be paid for an extra 2 payments later this year in December and also possibly in November as well. So households receiving €280 per child instead of €140 as the standard rate is. But going back to what the Taoiseach said a moment ago, he says that this wasn't something that was ever proposed in formal meetings and he doesn't believe there in fact has been any cabinet clash around all of this. I can tell you for certain that isn't the case, because we in Virgin Media News reported last night that there had been something of a détente at cabinet, this idea of a €12 blanket increase being adopted. Immediately we had Fine Gael sources getting in touch with us to say it wasn't true and it hadn't been signed off on. So they are certainly still trying to at least be seen to make the case for having higher payments for pensioners than for those on job seekers payments. Ought to be noted, however, this might just be an awful lot of shape throwing, because as you mentioned, Colette, as soon as the budget is out of the way, it's all eyes on a general election.
Our political correspondent Gavin Riley at Leinster House, thank you for all of that. So, the temptation to spend big in tomorrow's budget will be hard to resist for the government, especially when it confirmed it has a massive surplus to play with. Our economics correspondent Paul Colgan joins me now. The government has been urged to be responsible by the likes of the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council and not repeat the mistakes of the past. Will it listen, Paul?
Yeah, well, that is the job of the fiscal watchdog. But the central bank has said it as well. They think the 5% spending rule each year is something that the government should stick to. The ESRI has said pretty much the same as well. So I think there's some analysts and experts are a bit taken aback by what's being reported in terms of the scale of this budget, the size of the cost of living package. When inflation is now largely under control, the ESRI is forecasting, for example, that people's real wages will increase by 3% next year. So the question arises, why does everybody need this untargeted assistance? For example, the double child benefit payments. It doesn't matter what you earn or how well off you are, you're all going to get the same payments for each of whatever number of children you might have. So questions being raised about the impact it will have on an economy that's already close to full employment. The central bank has a rule of thumb. Every time the government goes beyond that 5% rule, it pushes up consumer prices somewhat by putting more money out there into the economy, therefore taking it a longer time to get inflation back under control. And how much money will go towards one-off measures as opposed to long-term capital investment? That's the other question. So this will all have to be answered over the next 24 hours.
All right, Paul, thanks very much for that.